Shocking news again poured in from Japan, this time bringing deep emotional nuances and leaving fans speechless. Jungkook reportedly experienced fatigue after a series of intense activities, a condition that is not immediately visible on the surface, but slowly felt by those closest to him. In the midst of the situation, the person who was the fastest to show concern came up with a very simple but meaningful way. Taehyung left a Japanese restaurant and went straight to the hotel where Jungkook was resting. According to stories circulating in their close circles, Jungkook has been seen holding back fatigue for the past few days. The smile remained. The professional attitude did not change, but the energy that usually radiated felt a little dimmed. Japan, which had previously been a place he looked forward to giving peace, became a silent witness to how his body and mind began to ask for respite. There was no big drama, no overt incidents, only human fatigue that ultimately could not be completely hidden. Taehyung, who was reportedly at a Japanese restaurant that night, immediately picked up the signal. He is said to have received a brief message about Jungkook's condition, and without much consideration, chose to immediately follow him to the hotel. The decision was considered very spontaneous, but that is precisely where the deepest meaning lies. There were no announcements, no camera highlights, just a best friend who came because she felt the need. Arriving at the hotel, the atmosphere is called very calm. Jungkook is reportedly resting, trying to recover after a tiring day. Taehyung's presence is not to give big solutions or long advice, but simply to accompany. In the silence of the hotel room, the moment was believed to be a safe space for Jungkook to take off the burden, at least for a while. For many fans, this detail seemed much more touching than any glamorous story. The two are known to have a strong emotional bond, and this event again confirms this. Taehyung didn't come as a fellow coworker, but rather as someone who understood Jungkook without needing many words. Japan, with its calm nights and distinct rhythms, seems to be the perfect setting for this simple yet meaningful moment. Outside the hotel, the city was still moving, the lights were still on, but inside the room, time seemed to slow down. Fan reaction was swift. Many were touched by the story of Taehyung leaving his restaurant to visit Jungkook. Not a few see this as clear evidence that caring between them is not just a public image. Despite BTS' global superstar status, they are still human beings with a sense of fatigue, a need for support, and a genuine bond of friendship. Some fans also highlighted how often Jungkook forces himself to look his best. The fatigue he experienced in Japan was perceived as a gentle reminder that rest is not weakness. In this context, Taehyung's presence feels like a silent message that Jungkook is not alone, that there is someone ready to come just to make sure he is okay. The story is not filled with dramatic dialogue or overly emotional scenes. It is precisely its simplicity that makes many people touched. Two best friends, a hotel room, and a night in Japan that bears witness to unconditional care. No one knew what they were talking about that night, or if they were just sitting quietly together. However, for fans, knowing that Jungkook is accompanied in times of fatigue is more than enough as of now. There has been no official statement on Jungkook's condition, and no confirmation of details about Taehyung's visit. However, the story in circulation has built quite a strong emotional picture. Japan is no longer just a tourist destination in this story, but a setting where the most human side of Jungkook and Taehyung is clearly visible. In the end, this story is not about burnout per se, but about empathy, about how Taehyung, in the midst of his own busy life, chose to be present for Jungkook, about how Jungkook, despite being tired, doesn't have to deal with it alone, and about how their friendship continues to live, silent and yet strong, even away from the world stage and spotlight. The continuation of this story actually deepens the emotions that many people feel. The night in Japan was said to be the point where Jungkook's exhaustion finally made itself felt, not just physically, but mentally as well. After long days of hectic schedules, the pressures of public expectations, and the enormous responsibility of being a global figure, her body seemed to be asking for a pause. He still tries to look okay, but the people closest to him know that Jungkook is at his limit. inside the quiet hotel room. Taehyung's presence is said to bring about a subtle but noticeable change in atmosphere. No panic, no pushy, heavy conversations, just quiet togetherness. Taehyung is known to be emotionally sensitive, and that night, he chose to attend without any demands. Sometimes, for someone who is exhausted, being accompanied without being asked too much becomes the most sincere form of support. That the source close to them mentioned that Jungkook looked much more relaxed after Taehyung arrived. He does not need to keep the image, does not need to smile for the camera. He just became Jungkook, someone who was tired and needed a break. Taehyung does not act as a noisy entertainer, but as a friend who understands when to speak and when to be silent. In that silence, the burden that was piling up slowly felt lighter. The story spread quickly among fans, not because of the hype, but because of its strong human overtones. Many were moved to see how Taehyung, who had previously been at the restaurant enjoying his own time, instantly changed the course of his evening in favor of Jungkook. For BTS fans, this is not just a story about two members, but a portrait of a friendship that survives amid the tremendous pressure of the entertainment industry. Japan, which has always been synonymous with urban beauty, night lights, and quiet culture, is now the emotional setting of the moment. Outside the hotel, life was normal. People are passing by, city lights are brightly lit, restaurants remain crowded. But behind the walls of the hotel, there are small moments that are not visible to the public, but they mean the most. The moment when Jungkook is reminded that he doesn't always have to be strong alone. Some fans even saw this event as an important reminder of the idol's mental health. Jungkook's fatigue was considered natural, even human. He has given so much energy, smile, and dedication over the years. If one night he needs a backrest, it is not a weakness, but rather proof that he is still human. And Taehyung's presence at that moment seemed to be a symbol that true support doesn't always come in the form of big words. The story also reveals the unique dynamic between Jungkook and Taehyung. They do not need to publicly indulge in closeness in order to prove anything. It is precisely through this simple act that their relationship feels real. Taehyung didn't come to be photographed, not to create a viral moment. It comes because it cares, and that's enough. For Jungkook, that night is likely to be one of the most soothing moments in the middle of a tiring journey. Until now, there have been no official clarifications, no written statements. However, it is precisely that unreality that makes this story feel more truthful. Fans are not demanding on details, not looking for advanced sensations. They only hope that Jungkook really gets the rest he needs, and that Taehyung remains a figure who is present at important moments. In the end, the continuation of this story is not about Japan alone, nor about schedules or secret agendas. It's about the empathy that lives between two best friends, about burnout recognized without having to announce, and about a silent night in Japan that proves that behind the glitter of the world stage, there is a simple but strong bond which keeps them standing.